everyone, Mariana with Three Peaks Classroom. Today I want to talk to you about my reading binder. So this is the binder that I use to conference with all of my students and keep track of notes and things that we need to work on together throughout the school year. So I'm going to just dive right in and show you what my binder looks like. This binder was actually my binder from last year. I just want to show you what it looks like from start to finish and what the charts look like and all of that. So first thing, right when you open up the binder, the very first thing that I have is a chart. And it's all the independent reading levels for each of the terms for each of the grades and report card descriptors. So I keep this right at the front of my binder just as a good reference sheet for me to remember where my students should be at by the end of each term. On the back side of that is also the different explanations if it is an easy book for them, if it's an instructional book for them, or if the text is a little too hard. And that goes directly with the F&P test. So if your division uses F&P test, then this is absolutely not new information. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Then I have a page here in my book that talks about guided reading and planning for guided reading. And I'm actually going to do a whole video dedicated on guided reading next. So I'm not going to dive into this, but I have it in my reading binder just in case. It's just a reference sheet. So then we get into each student's graphing page. Now, when I meet with students in September, obviously the graph looks empty. There's nothing on the graph at all. So every September, I actually sit down with the students and I already know what level they are coming into my class that September. So for example, this student, when I met with them in September, they were reading at a level O. So we had a conference about that and we talked about, this is where you're at right now. This is an amazing start for the year. And then we talk about what kind of goals do we have? So my goal for this student was to jump up 3 reading levels. And typically that's my goal for each of my students is I want them to jump up 3 reading levels. And 95% of the time, the students achieve that goal so long as they're reading in class and they're dabbling with reading at home. I find that they are pretty good at achieving those 3 levels. Now, students that have tons of support at home and participate in class very regularly, they will jump more than 3 levels. I love using these charts because it's a very visual representation of their achievements and of their growth in the classroom. It's very incredibly reinforcing when a student plateaus during the year and they don't achieve that next level. We have a really good conversation about why that might have happened. Are they doing their home reading at home? Are they genuinely practicing the strategies in class, checking for understanding or sounding out each word, things like that? It's a wonderful conversation starter about how we can reach that next level and achieve that next reading goal. So for example, I have a student here who was plateauing all year long, despite repeated attempts at home reading, despite working in guided reading groups in my classroom. And every time we tested, this student was plateauing, and the biggest proponent for that was because of the check for understanding. This student had a very difficult time understanding and comprehending the story, and so we worked on that repeatedly until finally in June. I tested this student in June virtually. I tested them. And they were able to jump up that 1 level. And that was a huge accomplishment because we had been working on that goal all year long. So once I met with the student and we talked about our goal, then I do check in with them quite regularly while they're reading. And that probably looks like me walking around the classroom, just listening to them when they're independently reading, but also when we're working in guided reading groups, I can notice the strategies that they're working on. And then I will officially meet with them once every month, maybe once every 6 weeks, to officially test them or to meet with them in terms of my notes. And then I have these notes that I printed up online. And we talk about, I write down the date, and I always write down something that they're working on that they're doing very well. I also write down something that they need to work on, which is usually those cafe strategies from Daily 5. So, check your understanding or do your cross-checking or, back up and reread. All of those strategies that we use from our Daily 5, those are the areas that I put down for growth. And then I do write down what to follow up on next time. So if I do write down check for understanding, when I meet with the student, I say, okay, last time this was our goal. I want to see if you've been practicing that while we're reading. And if the kids have been practicing that, then more often than not, they will bump up a reading level. But if they haven't been practicing that goal, then we might see that plateau, which is, again, a really good conversation starter between myself and the student. What I absolutely love about this binder is that when parents come to me and want to know more information about how their child is reading in class, I have everything I need in this binder. I just go to their tab, I can show them their graph, I can show them if they've been progressing, I can show them if they've been plateauing, and then we can talk about, every time that I've met with the student, this is what they did well, this is what we worked on. So it's a really good reference page for any time that I meet with a parent or if a parent has a question. Sometimes I have parents that come up to me and ask, well, why isn't my child progressing when they can read the words 100% beautifully? They're hitting that 100% accuracy, and having these anecdotal notes really helps me to explain to the parents that although they're reading with 100% or 99% accuracy, where they are faltering is that comprehension piece, and that is equally as important as reading the words. So explaining to parents that what you read and understanding what you read is just as important as reading the words, and this helps parents to understand that. During my demonstration of learning as well, I will also make a photocopy of these reading graphs so that parents can take it home and they can have a conversation with their child about, wow, you're doing such a good job, I can see that you're progressing. Or if they've noticed that parents have plateaued, it's a really good check-in for parents too, to see are we doing everything we can to support at home and at school to make sure that every child succeeds? So a lot of you know that I do teach online, and I still do have a binder like this for my online classroom. I do it exactly the same way that I would be doing it in the classroom. The only difference is I'm not able to check in with my students as frequently as I would be in person, because when we do decide to read as a class in person, I can quietly walk around and ask them to whisper read, and I can check in to see how they're doing. Whereas with online, I have to make that appointment and I have to check in with the students that way. But no excuses, I'm still able to do this, and I'm still able to have the binder and check in and write down all my notes, and I can create my guided reading groups based on these notes. And you guys know me, I do not reinvent the wheel. So all of the strategies, everything that I write down for areas of growth or what the kids are strong in, everything follows the Daily 5 Cafe menu. So when I have a goal for a student, like check for understanding, for example, I take that directly from the Daily 5 website. But here's a bonus that you might not have known. On the Daily 5 Cafe website, they actually have student-friendly videos that explain each of the strategies in student-friendly language. So if I say to a student, I really think it would be really helpful if we practiced backing up and rereading a sentence to make sure that we understand, I can show them the video clip on the website of what that looks like as a student is doing it. And you don't need a premium account to access those student-friendly videos. So there's a little tidbit for you. The last thing I wanted to say is that I actually created free templates for you guys in my TPT store in case you wanted to start up your own reading binder with this chart and note system. You can download them for free and start your own binders. I would love to know if you do decide to do that. Let me know how it goes in the comments below. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.